Hi everyone, Grant K here for the Flame Premium Learning channel. In the previous video, we looked at working with multiple batch groups in the desktop. I have also said a few times that you need to save the desktop to ensure all your work is saved. This video will go into granular detail about saving, loading, and deleting. These are all functions that are crucial to Flame Premium. So let's talk about saving. When it comes to saving in Flame Premium, you can save the desktop, that is everything, or individual components of the desktop. To save any desktop component, you can drag and drop the component from the desktop into the libraries. This can be done from the main interface or the media panel. Or you can save the specific components under the cursor with Meta S. For example, in the desktop Reels view, hovering over a clip and pressing Meta S will save the clip. This places a single source clip into the library. Hovering over an empty portion of a reel and pressing Meta S will save the entire reel and its contents. So specific components can either be gesturally saved or using a hotkey. When it's a gestural operation, the component is saved wherever you place it. However, using the hotkeys or Save button, you need to define the save location. The first place to define the save location is with the main save options at the bottom right of the interface. Here you have the current desktop name that is editable. The desktop save button is in the middle, and the final option to the right is the pop-up menu in which you can choose any existing library as a save destination or create a new one. This option will only ever save the desktop or components to the root of the selected library. If you want to define a location within a specific set of folders within the library, go to the Media panel and locate the folder. Use the contextual menu to define the folder as the save destination. This will update in the main save options. The save destination will always be remembered by the saved desktop. So whenever you load a previously saved desktop, it will always point back to its original save destination. Please note that these main save options are always visible throughout the software. This means the Media panel does not need to be visible when saving the desktop to a defined save destination. It's also good to know that if you save the desktop or component of the desktop, the order of the clips or media will be the same. Everything should match up in the library, as well as when you load it again. Now let's discuss the batch group, as it's very similar. Dragging the batch group entry into the libraries will save the batch group with all its contents, including reels and iterations. Hovering anywhere over the flow graph interface and pressing Meta S will also save the entire batch group. If you want to save individual components, such as the batch setup, schematic reels, shelf reels, or iterations, use the Media panel to drag the components into the libraries. Now there is one other save mechanism in Batch that is worth mentioning. In the Batch interface, you will find the Load and Save buttons. These functions load and save the batch setup files to your external file system. It does not save the media or iterations. This is just the construction of the flow graph. When you iterate the flow graph, a batch setup should automatically be generated by default. This is enabled in the main Preferences menu. We recommend using iterations as a complete save of the flow graph, and these batch setups are your backup. One final important point about manually saving batch setups. To name the batch setup file, set your name using the batch group in the Media panel and avoid the name text box in the file browser. This ensures that the name of the actual setup file will match the naming of the batch group in the Media panel. If you rename your setup in the file browser, the saved file will have a new name, but the batch setup will load with the original batch group name. So that is how you can save individual components of the desktop. But please do not forget that saving individual components is not saving all your current work. To ensure that all your work is completely saved, you need to save the desktop. This is the one and only means to ensure that every aspect of your work has been completely saved. So looking at the Media panel, you can see the desktop was saved into the library. By opening the structure, you can see all the saved desktop components. If you save the desktop again to the same location, you will be prompted to add, rename, or replace. Replacing the saved desktop is simply overwriting what was there. Adding or renaming the desktop is the equivalent to iterating the desktop in the library. Please note that while it is possible to iterate desktops in the library, the workflow we encourage is actually to iterate your work within the currently active desktop. As an alternative to saving the desktop with the main saving options, you can use a hotkey in certain circumstances. Either in the Timeline area or Tools area, you can hover over the middle bar and press Meta S to save the desktop. Please note that this does not apply to the Batch area. And for those of you who prefer drag and drop, you can call up the Media panel and drag the active desktop into the libraries to save it. Once in a while, I would suggest pressing Ctrl S to save the project state. This low-level function saves all the project settings within the application. Existing libraries and shared libraries are resaved in the workspace. However, this does not save the active desktop. This is a very important differentiation. So save all your current desktop work using the Save Destination button, and occasionally save the project state with Ctrl S. Now we've spoken a lot about saving desktops, but let's talk about loading them. Firstly, you can only have one active desktop loaded at a time. But this does not prevent you from interacting with other saved desktops and libraries in the Media panel. So to load any desktop from a library, just drag the desktop into the viewing area. The old desktop is deleted and replaced with the new one. If you've forgotten to save the previous desktop, you can press Ctrl Z to undo the load operation. You can save the old desktop and then reload the new one again. Remember that all load operations are undoable. As a reminder, whenever you load a previously saved desktop, it will always point back to its original save destination. So it's easy to track and organize your desktops as you update them. Now to be clear, loading a desktop replaces the existing one. But if you need individual components, dragging operations will append. In the case of batch setups and iterations, you will be given the additional option to replace the current components. And if you need to load a saved batch setup file, you can choose from 3 options. You can load and create a new batch group. You can load and replace the active batch group, or you can load and append to the existing batch group. So that should hopefully meet any of your loading requirements. The final subject we need to discuss is deletion. Please be mindful that this is very important. Misunderstanding this concept could lead to a loss of work. To start, you can delete any elements used within a batch group or a Reels group. To delete any of these elements, you could use the contextual menu or the gestural action of dragging the element to the bottom of the interface. As an extra alternative in the Timeline area, you could use the Delete hotkey to delete elements. Similar to the saving operation, hover the cursor over the clip. Pressing D will delete the clip. And hovering over the grey area of a reel and pressing D will delete that reel. Note that Shift D will delete the contents but keep the reel. If we move up to the main desktop components, you can clear out a specific component without affecting the other. For example, you are able to clear or delete a reel group from the Media panel. You can use the gestural drag down or the contextual menu. This won't affect other Reels groups or batch groups. The batch groups are slightly different. Firstly, if you have more than one batch group, you can delete them with the same actions. However, the workspace requires you to have at least one batch group at all times. So if you only have one batch group, you are only able to clear it and not delete it. This can be done through the contextual menu. And finally, when it comes to clearing the desktop, you have 2 methods. The first is using the contextual menu that works in all core creative areas. The second method is hotkey-based that only works in the Timeline and Tools area. Just hover over the middle bar and press D. Now, thankfully, with all deletions, including clearing the desktop, you can undo the deletion as long as it remains in the undo list. So you're always able to get back to things immediately if you think you've made an error. But I just want to be clear. If you clear the desktop when looking at a specific creative area, it will also clear all the other creative areas, including the current batch group. Please be mindful of exactly what you want to delete, and remember to save your work to the libraries prior to performing these delete operations. Coming next, we'll go into granular details surrounding all the additional functionality of the media panel. Think of it as a workspace browser. Comments, feedback, and suggestions are always welcome and appreciated. Thank you for watching, and please subscribe to the Flame Premium Learning channel for future videos.